Hey adventurers, you tried geocaching and you like it so far. Great, thanks for watching our first episode. In this second episode, we're going to take you down the road to understand what do these different icons, these different shapes of geocaches on my geocaching map mean. How do I find each of these different ones? What do I need to know to level up to the next step in my geocaching game? All right, so you will be equipped by the end of this video to understand all the different geocache types, how to find them, how to log them, and level up your geocaching game. All right, let's go have some fun. So geocaches can basically be broken down into two main groups. Physical geocaches, ones that have an actual container to find, and virtual geocaches, or ones where there is no container to find. And so we're going to start from there to explain the different types of geocaches. Come on, let's go see. All right, so first of all, physical geocaches, the type where there is a container, that will include traditional, which we explained for you in the first video. If you haven't watched the first video, maybe start there. We'll put the link up here for you. Then there's multi-caches, where there's multiple waypoints. We're gonna get into that. There's mystery caches, also often known as puzzle caches. Those are the ones with the question mark. Letterbox or Letterbox Hybrid caches. Those are the ones that have the stamps in them. Again, this is the icon. We'll explain that. And lastly, there's what's called a WhereIGo. Kind of an interesting mixture of different cache types, but those are your physical container cache types. So then we have the virtual cache types. There's a few that are involved in there. We've got EarthCaches, virtual caches, events, and lastly, webcams. So we'll walk through all of those next, but first, let's walk you through those physical cache types. So traditional caches, the green icons on your map, the ones we went through in the first video, those are the most straightforward. You get the location on your app, you get the hint on your app, and then you follow that information to the given location. You take a look, there's the cache, pick it up, sign it. You're done. Awesome. Log it found. That's a traditional. The next one is a little bit of a twist to it, and that's the multi-cache. Let's go find a multi-cache. All right, well, a multi-cache has a bit of a twist to it. You have a set of coordinates, and you are going to use the app to navigate to that set of coordinates. For us, it's right here. Now you have to read the instructions and find out what's the next thing you have to do. Multi-stages, multi-cache. So for this one, it says to read the sign, and I'm going to use the letters in the sign, follow the formula here that I've got in the description, and figure out where my final coordinates are, and that's going to be where the geocache is actually hidden that I signed the log and claim my smiley with. Now some multis will not just be a sign, sometimes it'll be, you'll need to count the posts or count something at the coordinates. It'll always be explained in the description. One more type of multi you should know about is where you're actually going to find a container at the first set of coordinates that has the coordinates in it for the final find. So again, multi, more than one step in order to get your geocache find. That's traditional, that's multi. Now let's figure out what a mystery is. The number one thing you need to know about a mystery cache type, also called puzzle caches, you know, the ones with the question mark there, is that 99% of the time they are not at the posted coordinates. The coordinates you get might not have anything to do with where the cache actually is, except that icon can't be more than 2 kilometers away from where the cache actually is. So that's a little bit helpful. But ultimately, you're gonna have to figure out how to solve some sort of puzzle. Might be hidden in the cache page, might be somehow elsewhere described, but somehow you're going to have to figure out how to get those final coordinates. And that's why it's a mystery cache type. We'll have another episode to help you solve puzzles, but the number one thing I would suggest to do is to go to a geocaching event, and we'll talk about those, and ask your fellow geocachers about solving puzzles. They're gonna be way more helpful because they're gonna know a lot more about the puzzles in your area. Once you've solved the puzzle and you have the final coordinates, then, like a multi, like a traditional, you go to those solved coordinates, find the container, sign your name, replace everything as you found it, log it online, there you go. That is a puzzle cache found. So that just leaves us with two types of physical geocaches to explain, the letterbox and the WhereIGo. These tend to be the two hardest to wrap your head around as a new geocacher, so let me see if I can help you with some real quick explanations. First of all, the letterbox. The letterbox or Letterbox Hybrid cache type is basically like any other type of geocache, except it's going to have a stamp in it, and that's the real big difference. Now, you can choose to use that stamp to mark your own book that you carry around with you. A lot of people do that. Or, just do whatever you want with it. But that's the main difference, is the Letterbox Hybrid cache needs to have a physical rubber self-inking or other type of stamp in there, and that's what makes it a letterbox. So this just leaves us with the WhereIGo physical geocache type, which frankly is the hardest to kind of wrap your head around and explain. To keep it as simple as possible, it's dependent on downloading and running a separate app. And I'll link to a few different options there for you. So using the WhereIGo app, what you can do is follow along in the instructions that the app is going to provide you, and it's going to be like some sort of puzzle or a tour taking you to different locations and answering questions or something to that nature. There's a lot of variety in the types of WhereIGo cartridges, they're called, but from the geocaching.com website, there'll be a link to download the cartridge. You'll have to have that app on your phone already. When you download the cartridge, the app will play the cartridge, and then you'll just follow through the steps, and when you finish it, it'll give you the final coordinates where you can go and find the geocache and get your smiley reward. So adventurers, that is all the physical geocache types. Next up, we're going to take you on a little trip where we're going to go and explore and learn about the virtual geocache types. All right, let's go. So we've talked about what we call the physical style of geocaches. That's the traditional, the multi, the puzzle, the WhereIGos and such, that have a physical container to find and a logbook to sign. Now we're going to talk about what we call the virtual style geocaches, and those are the ones where there is no container, there is no logbook to sign, but there is a task to complete and send the answer to, and that's how you claim a find on one of the virtual style of geocaches. So of the three types of virtual style of geocache, the first one is called a virtual, and you can recognize that one because it has this symbol. It looks like a little ghost. The next one is called an EarthCache, and you can recognize that one because it has this symbol, which is the planet Earth. And lastly, the one that you would look for as a virtual cache is a webcam, and that has a symbol that, you guessed it, looks like a webcam. So adventurers, of the virtual type of caches, there is of course the virtuals. Now the way you find a virtual is you go to one of these really cool, unique places where the virtual cache is, and there's going to be things for you to see. It's going to be written in the description, and there's going to be some sort of question for you to answer and or a photo for you to submit with your log. And that's how you're going to claim your find on a virtual cache. A virtual. Webcams are really interesting. Now, this is what's called a grandfather type of cache. There are no new webcam caches being placed, but the way it works is that you go to the given coordinates, and when you're standing at those given coordinates, you're going to be looking at a webcam, and you'll have a URL, a web link on the cache description page, which will tell you how you can use your smartphone and look at the picture that the webcam's getting, the live feed for the webcam. And you basically just have to capture an image of yourself using a screenshot, usually is the best way to do it. And then you attach that to your log, and it's called picture taken, image taken, and that's how you log a find on a webcam cache. So an EarthCache is a location where you're going to find a really cool geology related spot, and you're going to be asked some questions, you're going to be given some information, and you basically just need to understand the geology that's explained to you in the description, provide the answers to the geocache owner, and then you can log your find. They're a lot of fun, my favorite type of cache, but they bring you to beautiful places like this. So that gives us EarthCaches, virtual caches, and webcam caches, which are your three virtual cache types where there's no container to find, no logbook to sign. And that's how you find those three types. Now there's a fourth one that I mentioned as a virtual type cache earlier, and that's an event. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about events. So adventurers, the last type of geocaching icons we're going to talk about that you will find on your geocaching map are those for events. Now, most of the time, an event icon is going to look like this, like a little speech bubble, and that is going to help you find where there is an event, a gathering of geocachers going on. In the description of that event, it'll tell you the time, it'll tell you the date, it'll tell you the location, and then you can log a will attend. That's basically an RSVP, like, hey, host, I'm going to be here. And then once you've attended the event, you can log an attended log. It's that simple. So will attend, RSVP, attended, thank you very much, I enjoyed my time. The other type of event you'll see more frequently are what are called CITOs, or cache in, trash out events. And those are for cleaning up parks or doing plantings or somehow giving back to the game. Those are fun outdoor events where geocachers get together in a different community area and help to make sure that something is done to support that area where we go and find the geocaches. CITOs will have this type of icon on the map so that you can see them. And again, same idea as an event, you RSVP with a will attend, and once you've attended and helped clean up the park, then check, attended. The last type of events we're going to talk about are really, really big events when you get 500 geocachers or more together. That's a big party, a lot of fun. That's called a mega event. And sometimes a mega event will get so big that it's called a GIGA event, and that's 5,000 or more geocachers getting together. Those are a lot of fun. They're very well structured, lots of things going on. If you're interested in those, you can check your calendar on your geocaching app for mega or GIGA events and try and plan to get to one. But otherwise, they're a lot more rare than a regular event. So get out in the community, meet your fellow geocachers, and learn more about the game by interacting with other geocachers. We hope this video has been helpful for you. We've enjoyed putting it together, and if it's been helpful, please consider subscribing, giving it a like, and sharing it with your friends. In the meantime, I want to remind you to cache safely and cache often.